The installment of the latest Omaha Fire Chief as the first female to run the Omaha Fire Department echoes the contentious scenario seen with the Los Angeles Fire Department, foreshadowing grim prospects for Omaha's future. Both cities are now contending with the consequences of appointing fire chiefs based on diversity rather than merit, a strategy that has demonstrably led to disaster in Los Angeles and has also directly impacted citizens throughout all of Southern California. The Omaha Fire Chief exemplifies a deliberate systemic flaw where gender is prioritized over capability, with her ascent through the fire department ranks demonstrating this strategic and subversive approach. Likewise, the Los Angeles Fire Chief, also a female, progressed not through merit, physical prowess, or mental acuity, but rather by an agenda focused on fulfilling diversity quotas for quasi-political purposes. This strategy involved surreptitiously endorsing alternative lifestyles with public funds, influencing impressionable individuals of all ages, and challenging traditional, proven effective practices within an established community. Both fire chiefs have openly endorsed and advocated for the same discriminatory hiring practices under which they were appointed, practices that violate anti-discrimination laws. This not only highlights their lack of leadership qualities, as they were selected based on diversity quotas rather than merit, but also labels them as criminals in their roles. They hire and fire based on discrimination that would be illegal if applied by non-diversity hires or white men. Their leadership strategy has consistently favored promoting individuals based on gender rather than ability, specifically advancing women, which has significantly undermined the operational effectiveness of their departments. Furthermore, these so-called leaders have actively supported lifestyles and behaviors considered deviant and abusive, implementing hiring practices that favor individuals and groups with known criminal histories, especially those linked to the abuse of minors. This policy has not only degraded the quality of service and emergency preparedness in both departments, but has also cultivated an atmosphere of indifference towards citizens who do not align with their alternative groupthink. This has led to an increase in criminal activities and legal risks for the city, all at the public's expense. Los Angeles has already endured a significant fire disaster, which could potentially have been prevented with more competent leadership. In Los Angeles, the fire chief's tenure has been marked by a disproportionate emphasis on diversity over operational readiness, which culminated in a catastrophic fire. She has publicly declared, promoting a culture that values diversity, inclusion, and equity are priorities. And when asked about specific diversity targets, she stated, "People ask me, what number are you looking for? I say I'm not looking for a number. It's never enough." This pattern of failure is fated to recur in Omaha, where the fire chief's own declarations expose her inadequacy for the position. Despite this, she holds the job, openly confessing that her aim is to perpetuate the biased system that unjustly placed her there. Her public statements and actions signal a dedication to continuing these detrimental practices, priming the city for possible disasters. She has stated publicly, "As chief, I intend to continue our diversity, equity, inclusion, and sense of belonging, especially in our higher ranks," and underscored, "We value the different perspectives that a diverse workforce offers." Such assertions come from an individual seemingly detached from reality, as no sensible person would make such imprudent public statements without sensitivity training, which in itself is another reason for disqualification. Both these female fire chiefs, through their own words, reveal a significant lack of understanding and competence, along with an exaggerated sense of self-importance for extreme liberal and woke ideologies, clearly showing they are unfit for leadership, especially in the critical role of fire department chief. The mayors of Los Angeles and Omaha bear significant responsibility for the controversial appointments of their fire chiefs. The Los Angeles mayor, with a known history of racial extremism and black nationalism, deliberately chose a fire chief whose progressive ideologies were expected to overshadow public safety concerns. This decision was made with the understanding that the chief's focus would be more on her personal agendas than on protecting the city. Similarly, Omaha's mayor, often criticized for erratic behavior and lacking in substantive leadership, has followed suit by appointing a fire chief based on diversity metrics rather than competence. This choice reflects the mayor's adherence to neoliberal principles she mistakes for leadership. driven by an ambition to transform the city according to her vision, influenced by local affluent donors, despite her own questionable judgment and background. In both Los Angeles and Omaha, the appointment of fire chiefs has underscored a troubling trend where gender-based hiring practices eclipse merit, resulting in significant unpreparedness and inefficiency in vital public services. These decisions, spearheaded by mayors with questionable judgment and ulterior motives, reflect a broader societal malaise where the electorate, lacking in critical discernment, votes into power leaders who prioritize political agendas over competence. The Los Angeles and Omaha Fire Chiefs, both who are unqualified diversity appointees, perpetuate a cycle where they, in turn, hire more individuals based on similar criteria, not on their ability to serve effectively. This pattern illustrates a systemic failure where public safety is compromised for the sake of ideological conformity, leading to real-world tragedies like the catastrophic fire in Los Angeles. This scenario serves as a stark warning that appointing individuals, especially females with manufactured qualifications, to leadership roles based on gender or identity rather than merit, is not merely a local problem, but a pervasive one across America and the Western world. The public's uninformed backing of these non-leaders perpetuates a cycle of incompetence and looming disaster, as seen in Omaha teetering on the edge of its own crisis. Yet, the witless public continues to elect leaders who install clueless or corrupt individuals into departmental leadership roles, to the detriment of the community. This public has the power to vote for genuine leaders who would not just manage disasters after they occur, but prevent them in the first place. Without moving away from the flawed practice of prioritizing female, especially female minority or immigrant appointees, who are consistently seen as the least qualified and entirely unfit, where destructive diversity quotas take precedence over competence, the public will continue to suffer the consequences. This occurs to the detriment of competent and sensible male candidates, who are either native-born or, in certain instances, legal immigrants showing a deep dedication to the country's core culture following a rigorous and selective vetting process. These men have stood firm against the spread of wokeness or diversity initiatives, openly and actively challenging diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, which are subversive, anti-American communist tactics intended to undermine the nation from within. This narrative depicts a bleak vision of modern-day insanity, where the least qualified are appointed to leadership roles, threatening not only the well-being of the community, but also setting a perilous example for society swayed by analogous political movements. The responsibility now lies with the public to demand a return to merit-based, homegrown masculine leadership to avert further calamities.